Good morning. It is Kirsten Liebelt. How are you doing? It is Thursday. Thursday. Oh my goodness. The week is going by so fast and it's just like, whoa, crazy pants. It's good to see you. Today, you guys today in the group, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women, we're doing day 4 of the 5-day challenge. And remember, every month we do a challenge. This is our 17th one. And we're going to do supplements today. So, when we talk about a lot of the different supplementations that I teach, I use, I help people like navigate, customize, like this is the one you don't want to miss because you're going to get understanding as to why things work inside of your body the way that they do. And I am full on convinced that if you understand why something is working the way that it's working, even though you can't see things, because we always want to see things, right? We want to feel things. Well, you might not be able to feel something helping your liver, but you're going to be able to understand why it's helping you like metabolize fat. Okay, I'm just going to say that. And if you're on the replay, let me know you're on the replay. I would love to know where you're coming in from. Good morning, Carol. Good to see you. Good morning. I was going to keep singing, but I'm not going to do that. Good morning. Good to see you. So, how are you doing? I hope you're doing well. Today, yesterday we kind of touched on depression. And today I wanted to touch on the anxiousness side of things. And the reason why is because I get messages from y'all asking if there are connections between insulin resistance and anxiety. And so, yes, we're going to chat about that today. But you know what? This is the deal. So you could be having anxiousness from two different pieces of your life. One could be, good morning, Terry. Good to see you. She says, good morning, everyone. It could be hormonal or it could be your gut. And I want to give you very specific conversation as to which is which and how you can know the difference. And then you can kind of like assess yourselves. Because remember, this is what we do in this community. We are advocates for ourselves. We have to become our own advocates. Insulin resistance is not a terminal diagnosis. And so we have to be able to say, hey, wait a second, you're giving me trash information, matrix, provider. You're giving me trash information when it comes to my nutrition. You're telling me I can eat all these carbs. I'm getting more, you just keep telling me to up my medications or add another med or whatever it is. And I'm just like, this is not working for me. And I need to change something out. And so that's the very base of what we talk about. But it really is in regards to everything. I was extremely disconnected from my body. I've been talking about that a lot more lately, about how like I did not advocate for myself in my 20s at all when I was having babies. I was just kind of like, okay, I'm just on the river of whatever. And I did not advocate for myself very well. And that did not serve me. And then the older that I got, the better I have been about saying no. But it has been recent, like, and I'm not going to belabor this point, but over the last handful of years, as I've had some dental procedures that did not go well, and I did not advocate for myself. So it's still a part of my default to not stand up for something. I'm just telling you, like, I'll be 60 in January. So it's not like this just goes away. We have to practice being our own advocate, whether it's against people against is the wrong word, but advocate for ourselves when we have food pushers in our life, food bullies. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Yes. Do we know? And it's like, that's a very frustrating feeling. Imagine yourself getting to a place where you go into a social setting and you're so strong inside of yourself that you don't really care what people think, say, or do, like whatever. Like it's like I'm taking care of myself. And you honestly, hello, good morning. You honestly don't care. Just imagine being in a place like that as you go into the holidays right now. Okay. Imagine being able to just have a clear thought process as to how you want to advocate for yourself. And this is where we have to like tune into being more clear on assessing ourselves. I was just leaving a message for somebody this morning about that. Just you know more than you think you do about yourself inside of your head. You do. Like, I want to empower you to that. When we talked about this the other day, when you were 13, 16, and you still have your cycle and all of this stuff, you could tell, you were like assessing your body. And somewhere along the way, we just stopped assessing and we just kind of turned over our function to somebody else who was going to tell us what to do. And I'll tell you over and over and over again, as I listened to, what was the, good morning, Matt, good to see you. What was the name of Casey Means' brother? Casey Means, the surgeon from Stanford, her brother that's on the interviews with him. And he's talking, I heard him again yesterday in a separate interview because they're doing the interview circuit. And he's talking about how medicine is so siloed. It's so like, it's not good because they are not talking to each other. And it's so that we have to go to all these specialists to get all of these diagnoses, to get all of these scripts, to get all of these, and then nothing is matching. And we're left with this mess, this kind of pile. It's very frustrating. So when it comes to like even looking at your anxiousness, I don't want to say the word, your anxiousness, let's just determine gut or hormones. And then you can make a decision and move on. Callie, thank you, Carol. I knew you guys would know it. I knew you would. And you've watched the whole 4.5 hours of the Nutrition Roundtable, haven't you? So that's really, really awesome. I still haven't watched all of it yet. I should dissect more of it. It's so good. Yep. Calley. Okay. Thanks, Carol. I appreciate that. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know, you guys, it really does excite me. I know that things feel super messy and kind of whatever in our world right now. But the truth is that the greatest gift, yeah, you have watched it. The greatest gift that happened to us, can I dare say this, was the shutdown. Now, I don't mean all of the bad stuff that happened. Don't think I'm saying that. Listen, I was navigating a mom with dementia. We lost a lot of people. I've lost a lot of people. So I'm not talking about that. But good morning, Kristen. I'm wearing pink for you today, Kristen. I'm just kidding. But there you go. It matches, right? Because what it did was it got us to kind of go, wait a second, what do I actually believe about my own immune system? Or what do I actually think about like taking natural alternatives or whether you went that route or not, or you were already there or whatever, it made you stop and actually think about your own health, your own body, how you react to things. Where was your stress level? Where did your stress level go? Did it get really high? Did you realize that you weren't getting, yes, you love pink, I know. Did it get you to realize that maybe, gosh, I was never prioritizing getting sun. Like I'm all of a sudden going to prioritize this, that, or the other thing. It was actually such a blessing because now Casey Means and her brother Callie, look at what's happening, you guys. I don't know the details yet, but there's that whole thing going on with Kellogg's right now where they're protesting the company, they meaning a lot of people, and trying to demand that they take toxins and food dyes out of our children's food. Can you imagine that this is where we are? So this is why I talk about, let's just empower you, empower me to become our own advocates and to literally run our own bodies to the best of our ability, because we actually we know stuff inside of ourselves. And when we feel like nobody will listen, oh, it's so frustrating. We're not trying to do something harmful to ourselves. We're actually trying to help ourselves. And it's not helping if you tell me from a specialist point of view, I'm just not even going to listen to you because you're cuckoo bananas. You're going to the Googles. I mean, it's like ridiculous. And yet we're paying for their service. So that's my little rant for today. Anna, good morning. Beautiful Anna. It's disgusting. They make the food with good ingredients for the UK. So why can't they just do that for us? You guys, come on. We have to be done. So let's talk about anxiousness, because I know that this is good morning, Desiree. Good to see you. This is a common thing that's happening, but we don't know where to connect it to. Okay. And sometimes then we get put on anti-sadness meds, and then we don't like the side effects. So we've talked about that as well. So let's go to, let's start with the gut, and then we'll move forward from there. So the gut health and anxiety are actually closely linked through what's called the gut-brain axis, which is a communication system between your digestive tract and your brain, okay? The gut houses trillions of microbes, some of which are responsible for producing neurotransmitters like your serotonin. We've talked about that recently, which play a role in mood regulation. When your gut health is compromised, it can lead to imbalances in these microbes, triggering inflammation, stress hormones, and ultimately anxiety. Poor diet, chronic stress, and inflammation can all negatively impact your gut and in turn your mental health. Okay, so we want to restore the gut lining. We want to balance the microbiome. We want to improve your nutrient absorption. We want to regulate your neurotransmitters. We want to have better stress response. These are all the things that we're looking for when it comes to our gut. So yes, healing your gut can also help with like blood sugar levels, etc. Big help. If you focus on your gut, huge help. Okay. The things that we're doing that would mess up our gut, FYI, eating too much processed food, overuse of antibiotics, chronic stress, overuse of alcohol, etc. You can always eat foods like fermented foods, bone broth, berries, garlic, and onions. Those types of things help a lot. But insulin resistance plays such a key role in wrecking your gut. And these are the connections we're not making because nobody's telling us this, unless we just do some of the research ourselves. So insulin resistance, it's increasing your inflammation in your gut. It's imbalancing your gut microbiome. It's imbalancing, making your gut bacteria imbalanced. It's slowing down your digestion. These are things that insulin resistance is doing for you, to you. Slowing down your digestion, you're ending up with poor nutrient absorption, and you have excess fat storage. That's usually the one we talk about the most when it comes to insulin resistance, right? So signs of gut-related anxiety in women, and then I'm going to go between gut and hormone so that you can decide for yourself which one is you. What can help this? Anna, we'll talk about that, but you probably are already doing, I don't remember what you're doing or not, but I do talk a lot about the gut primer and a probiotic, etc. You can do fish oil. Just make sure it's wild caught. I have a really good one for people if they need it. There are things you can do to bring down the inflammation in your gut. And then obviously, Anna, you've already made huge strides in how you're eating. Like your pantry looks completely different than it did a year ago. I'm going to venture to guess. And so you're already doing a lot of these things. But if you have gut anxiousness, you might have frequent bloating or gas, irregular bowel movements, craving for sugary or processed foods, sleep issues, and brain fog. Okay. That's a lot of different things. So what happens is oftentimes we're rushing in the morning and we are just running out the door, and maybe we grab a breakfast that's just not really very helpful. It's not straight protein. It's like sugary, or it's grain, and we have to stop the grain. Okay. Right. But it can lead to blood sugar spikes, and that can make your anxiousness worse. If you are really stressed all the time from like you're trying to balance your work and your family, and you're running, and you've got high cortisol, etc., that is another reason for having like just unregulated emotional responses, unregulated stress responses. Anybody who still has their cycle, that can obviously cause, there can be premenstrual anxiety. I know there are a handful of you that are still perimenopausal. Using caffeine way too much can cause a lot of issues. Like if if you can start to get your energy from other places. I don't drink a lot of coffee, but it's really because I use adaptogenic herbs, and I use adaptogenic herbs, and I use like my B vitamins for my energy. Kristen, thank you so much. You're amazing. I do that because, well, then I don't have to use, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to drink coffee all day long. If I drink coffee all day long, I'm going to put cream in it. And if I'm going to put cream in it, then I'm going to literally fill up my tummy, and then I'm not going to be hungry. And then I'm not going to eat the protein that I need to eat. And then I just know myself because I spent my 30s drinking coffee, but I was drinking coffee with International Delight. I was drinking coffee with sugar, but it was still like with cream, right? It was still with like filling my tummy with like, I can't be drinking straight fat all day long. And then nourish my body with like, whatever, good protein. Late night snacking is definitely an issue as well. So hold on. So let's go then down to, why are you doing that? Come on. My fingers are trying to move too fast on there. All right. The supplements that you can consider, I've already mentioned one of them, probiotics. You can use a gut primer, like what I talk about all the time. It's not a greens product. It's a gut primer, okay? Your fish oil, make sure it's wild caught. Magnesium. If you're not taking a good magnesium, you guys, we're very deficient, and it actually fixes so many things. Magnesium is a beautiful thing just because we're deficient. And that's just the way that it is. And here we go. So how do you know if one is gut or if it is hormonal? And I would love it if you would like take a mental note, or if you have a piece of paper. We're just going to go through 5 of them. Okay. Number 1, timing of symptoms. So telling the difference between hormone-related anxiousness and gut-related anxiousness can be tricky because the two are closely connected, but there are some distinguishing factors. So number 1, the timing of your symptoms. If it's hormonal, often coincides with specific phases of the menstrual cycle, before menstruation, during ovulation, or during menopause. So we're still cycling in menopause, right? I mean, I'll be 60 in January. I haven't had a cycle since I was 50 because I had surgery, and it threw me right over the edge into menopause, and I never had a cycle again. But I can tell my body's cycling. I can still feel the bloating. I can still feel like my like maybe I'll have a day or two where I'm more tired than usual, and I'm like, what's up? I can feel the cycling of my body still, right? If your anxiousness fluctuates around these times, it could be hormone related. Okay, but now the gut, that tends to be more constant. Okay, that anxiousness can be more constant, but it can flare up after eating certain foods, following stress, or during digestive disturbances like bloating, constipation, or diarrhea. Okay, so the timing of the symptoms, is it during a certain time of the month where maybe you're cycling, or is it after you're eating certain foods and you feel more anxious? Okay, that's number 1. That's the timing. Number 2, physical symptoms. Hormone anxiousness can come with physical signs like hot flashes, breast tenderness, night sweats, changes in weight. These symptoms are tied to shifts in estrogen, progesterone, or cortisol. Okay? But you can feel anxious while this is all kind of happening. That's hormone, physical symptom. Gut symptoms would be often accompanied by digestive symptoms like bloating, gas, nausea, or cramping. If these signs worsen when you consume processed foods, sugars, or antibiotics, it's likely linked to gut health. And I recently had a customer tell me that all of her cramping has gone away. So can you imagine for yourself, like, yes, you knew your gut was kind of messed up, but maybe you weren't thinking about the fact that as it's being, as it's like messed up, you're kind of feeling anxious about certain things, right? That's that connection. Number 3, food cravings. This is very interesting. Check this one out. Yes, we are pantry twins. You're so cute, Anna. I love you. You've been such a good student of everything. Food cravings. Okay, if it's hormonal, you might notice cravings for salty or fatty foods, which is often tied to hormonal imbalances, especially during PMS. Okay. But if it's gut, you're probably craving sugar, processed foods. That's more common. It's driven by gut dysbiosis, an imbalance in gut bacteria. Isn't that interesting? Oh my goodness, Magda, hold on. She's telling me something, you guys. She's saying, hi, Kirsten, wonderful day. My insulin level and all of my inflammation markers are all within normal. Woohoo! We have to party for Magda. I am so glad. Good for you. Thank you for telling me. Thank you for telling me. Yes, Anna, it helps a ton. Like I can't even tell you how many amazing testimonies that I'm getting off of the primer. Yes, that does help. But Magda, good for you. Honestly, you guys, that is amazing. Insulin level. So you must have had a fasting insulin done, and your inflammation markers are all within normal. You've worked hard for that, Magda. You've worked hard for that. I'm so proud of you. Okay, so food cravings, hormone, it could be salty or fatty. Gut, it's sugary and processed. Number 4, mood fluctuations. If it's hormonal, mood swings are usually sharper. Mood swings are usually sharper and occur during hormone shifts, such as heightened irritability. Never. Come on. Or emotional sensitivity, especially leading up to menstruation or menopause. And so this is like, we all know this. Kimberly, she's cheering for you. Yay! I'm so glad. Everybody's on their journey. Magda, just give me a quick, just tell me how many months it's taken you to get here. Because I don't remember everybody's details all the time. Just tell me the months. You don't have to give me a ton of information, but I would love to remember. So mood fluctuations, that was hormone, and this is gut. May feel more like a constant underlying sense of nervousness, restlessness, often worsened after eating, especially with foods that upset your digestion. I remember back in my 40s, perimenopausal, and I had severe postpartum with my first baby. Severe. It was a really hard delivery. I went home with a Foley catheter, where it's tied around your leg. Like, he traumatized my bladder. I had all sorts of stuff going on. Lost some blood. It was not good. But the postpartum was so bad. And I remember that feeling of anxiousness about everything. Now, I know that was a completely different time in my life, et cetera. But when in my 40s, kind of that sadness and that underlying anxiousness started to show up again, I was like, it was familiar to me. So it would have never, in a bazillion years, it would have never crossed my mind that this could have been my gut. That it would have been the theater buttered popcorn and the Milk Duds and the Trader Joe kettle chips and the constant eating of processed foods. And I would have never thought that was connected. But if it's gut anxiousness, it would feel more like a constant underlying sense of nervousness or restlessness, often worsened after eating, especially with foods that upset your digestion. So I hope you're making a mental note as to which you think it is for you. If it's hormonal, it's sharper, it's maybe heightened irritability, emotional sensitivity, and that's usually right around like a cycle, or like if you're in menopause, remember you're still cycling. July, since July, Magda, I'm so excited. That just makes me so happy. Very, very good. Man, that's just amazing. That's got to make you feel so good. Okay. Sleep patterns. This is the last one. If it's hormonal, okay, and you're having a hard time sleeping, it often leads to insomnia or difficulty falling asleep, particularly due to nighttime hot flashes or restlessness during certain times of the month. So, maybe some here and maybe some there, not all the time. Gut sleep issues. Gut disturbances can lead to disrupted sleep patterns, but usually accompanied by digestive discomfort, like waking up bloated or feeling nauseous. That is interesting. Lisa, would it be a good idea to get a food sensitivity test done? Because how would you know which foods are bad for you? Well, I run everything through the lens of insulin resistance, Lisa. So I'm not talking in terms of sensitivities that way, but like if you eat, let's pretend you eat too much dairy and you notice that makes your jeans tight, you're bloated, right? Maybe dairy is bugging you and you don't know it. I don't know that a food sensitivity test is necessary. This is just my opinion. I'm not a medical professional. I feel like for this is more of just a self-assessment of, God, when I eat that, I get bloated. And I kind of like, I never realized that when I was eating, maybe you're treating yourself like I was treating myself to sweet potato fries at Red Robin. And maybe if I went and ate those and maybe an hour later, I was feeling anxious, but I never connected the two. Maybe now you'll just pay attention and you'll go, oh, that's interesting. Or I've got cramps in my gut, or I'm bloated, that kind of stuff, or I'm constipated. Good morning, Carla. Good to see you. That's kind of what I would say about that. Both types of anxiousness can feed into each other. So improving your gut health can often alleviate hormone-related anxiousness, and vice versa. If the anxiousness worsens with digestive symptoms or certain foods, it's more likely linked to your gut. So I hope that kind of helped a little bit, like in terms of just an overall, okay, so if you have anxiousness, it could actually be one of two things. It could be hormone related or it could be gut related. And they do overlap a little bit, right? Because inside of your gut, your hormones are created. Your GLP-1 hormone, your serotonin neurotransmitter, like they are all connected, but maybe you can focus on one more than the other. So for me, mine was probably somewhat gut, and I did not know it. I would have never known that. But what I did was I used adaptogenic herbs to help with my hormonal anxiousness. Like I was coming in not understanding what I'm about to tell you. I had no clue that this was true. But adaptogenic herbs help your body adapt to stress, and they come in and they support your adrenals. Your adrenals sit on top of your kidneys, and your kidneys regulate your hormones. Okay. So I started taking adaptogenic herbs for my brain fog because I couldn't multitask and I couldn't think clearly. But then I went, oh, this is also helping with any anxious feelings. And it's also like, because the one that I was taking, it's in the purple packet. If you guys know what I'm talking about, on my site, you can find the purple packet. It's a mood brightener and it's a mind brightener. Okay. So I was doing that. And over time, it was helping to balance out my hormones. I didn't know it was going to do that. I didn't know anything about any of that, but this is how I kind of stumbled into answers. And I still take it to this day. That adaptogenic herb being helpful for hormones also helped my daughter with trichotillomania. Trichotillomania is where you pull your hair. You have anxiousness and you're pulling your hair. Okay. Sometimes people, it can be so bad. It wasn't for her. Praise God. You can pull out your eyebrows or your eyelashes, right? Because it's kind of almost like a nervous tick, and it's connected to hormone imbalance. So the adaptogenic herb that I was taking, she was also being offered from a naturopath, that same herb, but then now we both take the same brand, okay, for different reasons, and extremely helpful. Okay, so that is one answer for somebody who needs hormonal help for anxiousness. Adaptogenic herbs can do a wonderful thing for you. So the purple packet, and then I also have an ashwagandha. But like somebody pointed out to me yesterday, and it was a good reminder, if you're on thyroid med, ashwagandha is probably not a really good answer. It's not a good match for you, but the other herb might be. Now, if it's your gut and you're like, oh yeah, I'm not craving the salty fat, I'm craving the sugar processed food. I can tell that after I eat, man, I'm uncomfortable. I've got maybe cramps going on. I've got bloating. And I never really thought about it, but yeah, you know what I eat does kind of make my anxiousness does increase. It heightens. But why would I have ever thought to put that together, right? So that's where you might be like, I want to actually take steps for my gut. So that's where I would talk to somebody about the gut primer and a probiotic, a good probiotic, and reset your gut. Reset it. A gut primer is completely different than greens, by the way. Greens are just like, I've got organic greens. That's a great way to get your, plant nutrition, etc. And greens are very good for your liver to create bile, etc. Like you want that. A gut primer, though, is this. I don't even know if anybody, I actually don't even think, I'm going to be super bold in my sentence right now. I don't think there's any competition to what I'm talking about because of the way they did it. Number one, everything's coming off of organic farms. Number two, you have 6 different blends. So it's like a primer that you would put on your wall before you paint. Okay. Now, if you have leaky gut, it's probably coming from insulin resistance. Probably started there. It's a guess. It's just a guess. Because that's what insulin resistance does. It messes up your gut microbiome. But if you're leaching nutrition, then you're just exacerbating daily what's going on in your body. And that then oftentimes leads us to a script answer. But the 6 blends are prebiotics and postbiotics. And then in the middle, you have alkaline spices, which helps with your oral health. And you want to have more alkaline urine because that can get connected to certain types of like kidney stones. Fermented greens. We all know that fermented means everything. Like we need to do that. Digestive enzymes and fiber from the extracts of fruits and vegetables. And so if you can bring down the inflammation inside of your gut, if you can kind of shore that up and stop leaching nutrients, it's really a good thing. Now, I have 2 different customers right now. One, they're taking the gut primer and they're doing 3 10-day resets with it. Okay, because it's a 30-day supply. They're doing 3 10-day resets. 10 days in October, 10 days in November, 10 days in December, because they actually want to see what it feels like on and off. Then I was voice texting yesterday afternoon with a customer who said, my cramping went away, my constipation went away with days. I will absolutely not miss taking this because that level of whatever was very concerned. It made her scared. She didn't like that. She's like, my cramps are gone. She called it a smooth flow. So if you're on here, you don't have to admit it, but I love that. I laughed so hard at that. I said, you are hysterical. But for her, right, you guys, that matters. Like that gives us some peace of mind. I'm telling you, I don't know if it's, we've either all had episodes where we've had constipation, whether it's been from a surgery or from taking narcotics after a surgery or whatever it is. And I'm telling you, it can make you feel so scared inside that you will do anything. And if all you ever do is take over-the-counter meds to help that, you are taking away your body's ability to do it on its own. You don't want to lose the process of your intestines and your colon and your muscle responses. And you don't want to lose that. You don't want to be, it's just the same thing I say about the shot. If it's tapping on your pancreas to produce insulin, that's not a long-term answer. And we all know that, but I just want you to think about that. If you're taking melatonin all the time and telling your body it doesn't have to produce melatonin all the time, It's not a long-term answer. Okay. So anytime we're trying to like take over for the body to function, as opposed to supporting it and lifting it up and helping it to like go better, further, whatever, that's where we kind of like get messed up. And we don't want to do that. So those are the difference between hormonal or gut. When it comes to anxiousness, I would love to know if anybody feels like you've identified anything for yourself. Just as a repeat, the timing of the symptoms with hormones is definitely within a cycle that you can tell at a certain time during the month. It doesn't make, you don't even have to have a cycle for this to happen, but maybe your anxiety is coming just in little pockets, maybe once a month or something like that. As opposed to gut anxiousness, it tends to be more constant. And it's flaring up after you're eating certain foods. And it's like your digestive disturbances like bloating, constipation, or diarrhea. The physical symptoms, if it's hormonal, could be hot flashes and breast tenderness and night sweats and changes in weight. And at those same times, you're feeling anxiousness. The gut, it's often accompanied with the digestive symptoms, bloating, gas, nausea, or cramping. Like my customer, my cramping is gone. I won't be without this, right? That was her answer for that, because the signs worsen when you consume processed foods, sugars, or antibiotics. Another reason for people, if you've been on a lot of antibiotics. The food cravings, hormonal, fat and salty. Gut, sugar and processed. The mood fluctuations, the hormonal anxiousness is more like irritability and moodiness and emotional instability. Gut is more like a constant underlying sense of nervousness, okay, and restlessness. And it's often worsened after you eat. And if you've never thought that, never heard that, pay attention and see if it worsens with that. And then the last one was sleep. If it's hormonal, you could have insomnia, difficulty falling asleep, and it's usually during like hot flashes or restlessness. And it's during a certain peak during a month, right? As opposed to if it's gut, it could be disrupting your sleeping patterns, but usually it's accompanied by digestive discomfort, like waking up bloated and feeling nauseous. So assessing yourself is like the most important thing that you could be doing on any given topic that we bring to the table and talk about the connections with insulin resistance. You have to listen to yourself. You have to assess what your own body is telling you. So I hope that helps somebody today, because I just thought that was very fascinating. And since I feel like I've actually dealt with all of that, I was like, oh, so that was then and that was then. Okay. But I didn't. I was very disconnected from my body. You know, if you think about it, being gestational diabetic when I was like 22, I think I had him shy of my 23rd birthday, like 1 week shy. And then I literally don't do anything for 25, 26 years. That's how disconnected I was from my body. And it was probably an intentional decision, not going to lie. My dad died of type 2 at 63. By the time he died, he had been insulin dependent. He had had all of his heart surgeries. He had had, quadruple bypass. He had been on kidney dialysis for a couple of years. He had been puking. He had been like his quality of life was way down. But a lot of the symptoms that my mom constantly was putting before me, and thank God she was, really had to do with sores on his legs, not healing, and being thirsty all the time, peeing all the time, those signs of type 2. And she really was bugging me a lot about my sugars. And I'm so grateful, because inside of my head, I was just scared enough. I was just scared enough to question if I had something not healing on my body right. And that was a good thing for me. I needed to be scared. And so that's probably what threw me into paying more attention to my body. Right? And now we feel like we don't have to pay attention. We just have to go to a doctor and get a script and let them pay attention for us. And we have to take that back again. So I hope that encourages somebody, empowers somebody. Today at 2 p.m., we're going to go over The it's in the group Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. And on TikTok, I'm putting this up here now because it's helping you guys, I can tell. So my site is right there on my page. You can get up to it by clicking up here. But it's just one page, it's short. But if you scroll up, you'll see a Facebook blue button. And on that Facebook blue button, you can jump into the group, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. And today is our 4th day of the 5-day challenge, and we are going to go over supplementation. That would help a lot. But you can always look at the replays from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Yesterday, we did my pantry and fridge reveal. Tuesday, we did ingredient trade outs. Monday, we did kind of like a background of insulin resistance, etc. Tomorrow, we're going to make a recipe. Like, don't miss out. Don't miss out. And if in the meantime, you need to know anything more about like the gut primer and a probiotic so that you can have a gut reset protocol, please reach out to me and let me know. Just get into my inbox in Messenger or on Instagram. You can text me. There's a number up on that site. There are many ways to get a hold of me. If you feel like that kind of helped you identify, oh, it's definitely my gut. I've got to deal with my gut because I can't do this anymore. Then let's talk about a protocol, because this is going to actually, imagine yourself being able to navigate the holidays completely different than you did last year or the year before or the year before. And you can actually land on your feet January 1st. I keep saying that because I feel like this is an opportunity. I know somebody's hearing that right now, and you're thinking to yourself, I don't want to just like drag my butt through the holidays being unkind to myself and feeling like crap. I just don't want to do that anymore. Imagine what it would feel like to go through the holidays with energy and mental clarity, and you're not bloated and constipated, cramping and feeling just like total trash, because you can do things completely differently. And it just, we get excited about the festivities, but we don't want to despise the fallout. We really don't. Like, who wants that? You're over at somebody's house and you're just bloated and you're constipated, or you're just uncomfortable. You're uncomfortable in your own skin. You're uncomfortable having pictures taken. You just don't feel good, or you're exhausted and you're brain foggy. Who wants that? Like, let's be present and let's be available for our families. Making the meatloaf tonight. That's awesome, Kimberly. Tell me how that works for you. Let me know how that works for you. I was not raised on meatloaf a ton, so I did not raise my children on meatloaf a lot, but that is a really good recipe. So I would love to know what you think about that. And yesterday in the group, when we were doing my pantry fridge reveal, there is a Heinz ketchup. If you're a ketchup person, look at the ingredients. It's really decent. It's a Heinz, I think it's no sugar added ketchup. Decent. Like, you can find pretty good products on the shelves today. You really can, more so than ever before. So anyway, if you need anything, let me know. And again, obviously, we always talk about the trio. That's a given. Those are the 3 supplements that have the 3 ingredients that help with insulin sensitivity. So if that's where you need to start, perfection. And if you need testimonies on that, go over to my Instagram. There's a pink highlight bubble at the top of the page. You won't be sad that you took 5 minutes to surf through them. You won't be sad. So, all right, have a super blessed day, you guys. 2:00 today, Central Standard Time in the group. 10:00 tomorrow morning. We'll wrap up the week and go right into the weekend and be very, very blessed. See you guys later.